Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it's 11 p.m. at night. I've just got back from the Jurassic World screening at my local cinema, and wow, I've got lots of things to say. Now, before I get started, first of all, there are going to be spoilers in this review, so if you don't want to know any spoilers, then stop watching right now. But if you're continuing to watch, then I'm assuming you want to know spoilers about the film. Also, I just want to preface this whole review. If you enjoy Jurassic World and, really get a lot of happiness out of it, then I don't want to take that away from you. Please keep on enjoying the film. Go and see it as many times as you want to. Support the franchise. Buy all the toys. Buy the merchandise. That's fantastic. I want to keep the Jurassic Park franchise alive. I just want you to know that these are only my thoughts and opinions. They're not fact, and don't be upset by the things that I say, because I'm just one person and this is just my opinion. So don't take it to heart what I say. And also, if you worked on the film and you happen to be watching this, well done for all your hard work. I really appreciate the hard work that you've put in. You should have a big pat on the back. And please remember that my thoughts and opinions are just that, thoughts and opinions, nothing more. So please don't take them to heart. Now, I came away from Jurassic World very disappointed with the film, and it's really hard for me to say that because I'm a Jurassic Park fan through and through. The thing that I took away from the film, and the word that stuck in my mind as I walked away, was plausibility. The first film was really plausible, and the second film was very plausible, and I think when Jurassic Park 3 rolled around, it kind of became implausible. Now, Jurassic Park 4 is another implausible film. It's very much your Jurassic Park popcorn movie. And if you like popcorn movies, you're gonna love this film. It's exactly what you want as a popcorn movie. I was thinking, actually, as I walked away, the average Joe and also youngsters are really gonna love this film. It's really got that sort of mass appeal. And I'm sure it's gonna make a load of money. I'm sure it's gonna do really well, just like Jurassic Park 3 did. And Jurassic Park 3 is very much a popcorn movie. I can watch it on a Saturday night. It doesn't bother me if it's on TV, but I just prefer the first two films. They've got a little bit more plausibility to them. Now, with Jurassic World, there is definitely an issue of plausibility. The story gets a little bit out of hand in the second half. So let's go over the story a little bit. It has a very sort of twee, cheesy opening where the boys are leaving for Jurassic World. We get a feeling that maybe their parents are going through a divorce, but it's not sort of confirmed at that point in the story. Then we get to Jurassic World. There's lots of Jurassic Park theme music coming in. We see this brand new park. We don't see many of the dinosaurs initially, which is interesting. We see this brand new visitors center with holographic dinosaurs and a holographic Mr. DNA, and it's all very grand and shiny. Then slowly we're introduced to the Indominus Rex. Now, the Indominus Rex is this new hybrid dinosaur that's a mixture of unspecified creatures, and we slowly learn that it's a base of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but then there are other things added to it, including a cuttlefish, which we originally suspected in the rumors surrounding Jurassic World. We thought there was cuttlefish in it, and there is indeed cuttlefish. But the Indominus Rex is actually introduced really nicely in a similar way to the way that the raptors were introduced in the original Jurassic Park. It's behind foliage, it's hidden, it's elusive and scary, and I think that's really cool. What I don't like is the introduction to the raptors. It's in broad daylight, they're out in the open in this compound, and they're being trained by Chris Pratt. Instantly, for me, the raptors are brought down to the level of a household pet. And although they're more fierce than a household pet, yes, they are a threat to, the people around them, but they've been taken down a notch, in my opinion, and that was a little bit saddening for me to see. So despite the cheesy start and the introduction to the raptors that was a little bit disappointing, the film picked up its pace when the Indominus Rex escaped, And this was a really exciting scene. My heart was pounding, and I thought, this is cool. This feels like the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And there were loads of nods to the first film in terms of the Indominus Rex escaping. I thought back to the Lost World novel when Sarah Harding climbs underneath the car. It was obvious that they referenced that with Chris Pratt's character climbing underneath the car. Very, very cool. So that was a really cool scene, and it seemed like things were really picking up at that point. Also, the kids in the gyrosphere, they get attacked by the Indominus Rex as it's loose, and this is quite an exciting scene too. I thought things were really going to pick up, but unfortunately after here the film slowly starts to go into implausible territory. And the driving force of this implausibility is Hoskins' character, the head of security, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. He has this obsession with the raptors that he wants to set them loose and test them as weapons. This is a really balmy idea. It's left field, comes out of nowhere, and he's obsessed with the idea so much that when Simon Masrani is unfortunately killed in a helicopter accident, sort of inadvertently caused by the Indominus Rex setting loose the Pteranodons, he kind of takes control. Hoskins' character takes control, and he kind of decides to take over the raptors and set them loose on the Indominus Rex, no matter what Chris Pratt thinks. And Hoskins' obsession with this testing of the dinosaurs as weapons it just feels really crazy. It feels like we're going into Sci-Fi Channel territory. And actually it's a shame because it does feel like the film degrades from this point on. My wife described it as there was too much going on. There was too much they were trying to fit into this story. And I agree with her because the introduction of the Raptor Squad felt like this completely different element that spun the story off into a world that wasn't plausible for me. Now, there's also romance between Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, and when this happens in the film, it feels very forced. Chris Pratt's character basically just kisses Bryce Dallas Howard in the middle of chaos, and I really don't buy that relationship. If you remember in all of the Jurassic Park movies, there is romance, there is a feeling of companionship between Ellie Sattler and Alan Grant. There is a feeling of companionship between Sarah Harding and Ian Malcolm. There's a definite love and trust and support there, but it's never explicit, it's serious, it's never, popcorny. And the romance in this film is very popcorny, so that's why I'm saying this film is very much a popcorn Jurassic Park movie. I think it pales in comparison to the original Jurassic Park and The Lost World. It's probably on a par, if not slightly better than Jurassic Park 3. Halfway through the movie, we do return to the visitors center, and it's overgrown with foliage, and the two boys actually find the garage, which contains an old pair of broken night vision goggles, which I thought was really cool, and one of the old Jeep Wranglers, well actually two of them, and they managed to get one of the Jeep Wranglers working, and actually the boys drive the Jeep Wrangler off into Jurassic World. So that was really cool to return to that original part of the park. I would say, however, it felt a little bit forced, and it felt like it was there only to appease fans of the first film. It didn't feel like it was integrated with the story in any way. It felt like a little detour that we needed to have in order to make fans happy, and I understand that, but there's some ways I think maybe they could have made this stronger. They could have made it more integrated with the story. I thought it was going to go that way when the Indominus Rex actually stepped into the original visitor center rotunda and roared. I thought, cool, this is really good, now maybe something's going to happen here, but no, that was it. That was our reference to the original Jurassic Park. So skip forward to the ending. What's left of the raptors and the T-Rex gang up on the Indominus Rex. There's this big scuffle at the end. You think the T-Rex is dead, and then at the last minute he comes back and fights the Indominus Rex one last time, and they basically corner the Indominus Rex next to the Mosasaurus feeding area, where the Mosasaurus bursts out the water and drags the Indominus Rex underwater, killing it. Now, although this is a very exciting scene, it does feel very forced. Like everything has been forced into this complicated ending where they've put as much as they can, all the visual effects, everything into one scene. And in a way, it's similar to Jurassic Park 3 in that it feels like everything's happening in a short space of time. It's very exciting as a popcorn movie. I think people will enjoy this part. They'll like seeing the Tyrannosaurus Rex coming back. I would say the CG looks a little bit ropey and the T-Rex looks a little bit off model. But overall, this is probably a very exciting finale for, you know, an everyday audience, and most people are probably going to enjoy this exciting ending. So I'll probably do a follow-up video to this, maybe explaining in more detail and going over some of my thoughts and feelings. But please remember, these are just my opinions and thoughts. Please don't take them to heart. Don't be disappointed. Go and see the film and go and enjoy it. But I'm just going to go through my top 7 fan-focused questions, because I said I would address these, and then I'm going to go through the concerns that I brought up in the pre-review. So first of all, first question was, what happened to the escaped pteranodons from Jurassic Park 3? That isn't addressed in this film at all. I know it's addressed on the Masrani site, but I tend to think of films in terms of what you actually see in the continuity of the films. So if you watch Jurassic Park 3 and then watch Jurassic Park 4, that question isn't answered. Second question, what is the deal with Site B now? Isla Sorna isn't mentioned at all. Third question, why was the original island chosen for Jurassic World? It's not made absolutely clear why Isla Nublar was chosen, but Simon Masrani does say that Hammond asked him personally to create Jurassic World, so maybe it's because Hammond intended for Isla Nublar to be the island of use. Fourth question, how did the original T-Rex survive on Isla Nublar? This isn't explained. We know this is the original T-Rex because of the scars on her neck in the picture of T-Rex in all of the marketing. But it isn't explained how the original T-Rex actually survived this long. Question 5. Are there other wild dinosaurs alive on Nublar? As far as we know, no. It seems like just the Tyrannosaurus Rex is the only remnant from the original park. So it's odd that we don't see any of the other dinosaurs, brachiosaurs or anything. They've just kept the Rex. Number 6. Why rebuild Jurassic Park this way? It seems like Simon Masrani is very much a flamboyant, carefree entrepreneur. He doesn't really seem to be completely with it. He's very much a carefree spirit. So why rebuild Jurassic Park this way? It seems like he's just trying to make a show of things. Number 7. Why has Henry Wu suddenly changed? Now actually his motive does come up in the film, and I'm glad they addressed it. It seems like Masrani asked Henry Wu to make the next cool big thing, and Henry Wu kind of gets a little bit angry when Simon brings this back up when the Indominus Rex has escaped. Henry Wu kind of says, you asked me to make something bigger and cooler, and as a scientist, for him those words don't mean anything. You know, he's a scientist, so he does seem to kind of build the Indominus Rex out of anger or out of spite, and a kind of he's being pestered by his bosses, and that kind of, to me, gave me a little bit more of an insight into his motives. So that last question was addressed, so I'm glad about that. Okay, last of all, I'm just going to address the concerns that I brought up in the pre-review. So the first thing I was concerned about, has Jurassic World become too joke-oriented? No, actually, in this film, they didn't overuse the jokes. There were a few moments where it was a little bit awkward. There was a scene in the control room near the end where the guy who wears the Nedry glasses, I've forgotten his name, tries to kiss one of the other ladies in the control room, and she kind of backs off. And it's supposed to be funny, but it just felt a bit awkward and the humour was a bit misplaced. So yeah, I think there were moments that were silly, but it wasn't overused. Number 2, are the dinosaurs overused and under-respected? Well, I would say the raptors were overused and under-respected. There were scenes that felt like the raptors were behaving in an odd way, like trained dogs in a way that we haven't seen the raptors before, and maybe that's a good thing, but to me it felt disrespectful to what we know of the raptors. It didn't feel like it lined up with their kind of persona in the other movies. Number 3, is the dialogue bad? It's not all bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was, but there are moments where it's really bad. There's one bit when Henry Wu is talking to Hoskins, and he talks about the canary and the cat. When you see the film, you'll see what I mean, but there's some bits in the film that the dialogue is just atrocious. My wife agreed with me on this. Just some odd bits of dialogue just feel really awkward. Number 4, are we losing the intelligence in the making of Jurassic Park? Well, yes, this is a popcorn movie. This is a popcorn Jurassic Park movie. It's not a masterpiece, so yes, we are to some extent. Number 5, homage-orama. Are we getting too many homages in this film? This film is littered with homages, down to even the way it's shot. It feels like a lot of the shots are lifted from the first film. That said, I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's too in your face, but I do think it almost sits, because it's such a popcorn movie, it almost sits outside of the Jurassic Park franchise and refers to it a lot. So it does feel a little bit removed from the other films. Also, if you think about the continuity, as I said, with Jurassic Park 3, that's another reason why it kind of feels like it sits outside of the Jurassic Park franchise. So there we have it, guys. That's my initial review of Jurassic World. I hope you all go and see this film. Please go and see it. Tell me your thoughts on it. I want to hear if you enjoyed it. I want to hear what you thought about it. You know, come back to me with your thoughts. Come back with your, arguments against the things I've said. I want to hear what you've got to say, because you guys are the fans, and these are just my thoughts. I'm just one person. So please don't take these opinions and thoughts to heart. This is just the way I felt coming out, and my wife obviously felt coming out of the film. It's a good Jurassic Park popcorn movie, and like I said, probably, it's not as good as the first 2 films, but there we go. In terms of a rating for this film, I'd probably give it something between a 6.5 and a 7 out of 10. With the first Jurassic Park being a 10 out of 10. Okay guys, leave a comment down below of your thoughts of Jurassic World, and in the meantime, rate, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.